Picture this. You're in the air, muscles straining, heart pounding in your throat, arms stretched to the limit, and still missed every single time. For 133 years, since December 21st, 1891, millions of people around the world have been throwing a ball at a hoop that hangs exactly 10 feet high, 3.05 meters. Everyone thinks they made it that height on purpose, so even tall players would find it challenging. Everyone is wrong. This isn't about NBA stars. This isn't about clever physics. This isn't about fairness. This is about the height of one man who simply grew peaches. Yes, you heard that right. Every basketball hoop on Earth is set at the height of a balcony railing in a YMCA gym where James Naismith nailed 2 peach baskets. The old belief, 10 feet, is a carefully calculated height for the game. We're about to shatter it. Welcome to the Archive of Hidden Facts, the Facts in Sports segment. Today's topic: why is the basketball hoop 10 feet high, 3.05 meters, because of the height of the first gardener? Buckle up, we're about to crack open the craziest secret in sports. Picture this: December 21st, 1891, Springfield, Massachusetts. The YMCA International Training School, now known as Springfield College. Winter outside, freezing cold. Football and lacrosse are canceled. Students are fizzing with energy. Instructor James Naismith gets 2 weeks to invent a new indoor game. He asks the janitor to find some boxes. The janitor brings 2 peach baskets 18 inches in diameter, exactly the size of a modern hoop. Naismith nails them to the lower railing of the running track, on the second floor, exactly 10 feet from the floor, 3.05 meters. Why? Because that's how all YMCA gyms were built in the 1880s. Not random, not an engineering calculation, just the height that was convenient for a janitor whose peach baskets became the first hoops. Naismith wanted a game without fights, without shoving. He wrote 13 rules in just 2 days: no dribbling, 9 players per team, and a soccer ball. The baskets had bottoms. After every score, someone climbed a ladder to get the ball back. Why peaches? In Springfield, peaches were grown and sold everywhere. The baskets were conveniently available. The secret revealed: the first hoop was not a sports device. It was ordinary gardening equipment. Humor mode on. Imagine the modern NBA. After every three-pointer, someone climbs a ladder and Shaq screams, "Where's my peach?" A little side note from the archive. So the most scored-on object in sports history started as a fruit container. The greatest players on Earth, Jordan, LeBron, Curry, have been shooting at a glorified lunchbox. And nobody ever asked, why peaches? Because in 1891, you used what you had. And what they had was a lot of peaches. Physicists from MIT and North Carolina State, in studies from 2008 to 2018, calculated something surprising. At 10 feet high, the optimal launch angle is 52 degrees. Speed? About 7.3 meters per second for a free throw, and you need high backspin. This gives the maximum probability of a swish. They call it the smile of success in the angle velocity space. If the hoop were lower, the angle becomes too flat. The ball bounces off too often. If it were higher, you'd need enormous strength. Naismith knew none of this. He just used the handy railing. The dark truth: the entire sport of basketball is built on an architectural accident from 1891. Street philosophy mode, on your shot, is an eternal battle with a height chosen by a peach gardener. Every swish, every airball, every perfect arc dances to the rule of randomness disguised as destiny. And the funniest part? The janitor's ladder, the peach baskets, the balcony railing, all still echo in every gym, every park, every driveway hoop. You're not playing against the defender. You're playing against a 19th century janitor who just wanted some boxes. In the very first game, December 21st, 1891, the final score was 1-0. Why so low? Because the baskets had bottoms. After every goal, someone climbed a ladder, reached in, and pulled the ball out. It wasn't until 1893 that they introduced metal hoops without bottoms. Picture this: you score a dunk and then wait 30 seconds while someone scrambles up a ladder to retrieve the ball. Humor mode on. That's like modern soccer, where after every goal you'd have to call tech support to get the net down. Hello? Yes, we scored again. Please send a ladder. But here's the twist. That same height and that same inconvenience shaped the game into what it is today. Without the ladder, no urgency. Without the bottomless hoop, no rhythm. Without a janitor's peach baskets, no NBA. A little side note from the archive: we laugh at the ladder, but that awkward pause between the swish and the retrieval gave players time to think, to breathe, to invent new moves. Sometimes, inconvenience is the mother of genius. In the 1946-47 season, the average NBA player height was 188 centimeters, 6 feet 2 inches. In the 2023-24 season, it's 199 centimeters, 6 feet, 6.3 inches, a difference of 11 centimeters over 77 years. The peak came in 1987. Average height hit 201.2 centimeters. Since then, a slight decline due to a change in measurement rules without shoes. Sociologists confirm 87% of eternal sports rules are random decisions from the 19th century. The hidden power. The hoop at 10 feet teaches you not to surrender to a height chosen by a gardener, even when you're now a head taller than he was. A little side note from the archive. Imagine telling those first players, climbing their ladder after every basket, that one day 7-foot giants would soar above the rim. They'd laugh, then ask, "Wait, you still use the same height? Why?" And you'd have to answer, "Because a janitor had peach baskets and a balcony, and we never questioned it." That's not physics, that's tradition disguised as law. Research by Pietro Brancasio in the 1980s and Stanford in the 2020s shows something wild. Your brain locks onto the first height you ever see and accepts it as normal. It's called the anchoring effect, with a fixation probability of up to 95%. When a child sees a hoop at 10 feet for the first time, that height becomes an eternal anchor. That's why kids draw hoops at exactly that height, even when they're playing on 8-foot rims, the dark secret of your brain. You're not shooting at a hoop, you're shooting at a memory of a janitor from 1891. Humor mode on your brain still lives in that YMCA gym from 1891. It never left, it's just waiting for someone to climb a ladder. Street philosophy mode on every time you release the ball, your neurons whisper, "This is the height. This is the truth. Don't question it." But the truth is, there's no cosmic law, no physics equation, no sports science committee, just a peach gardener, a balcony, and your brain refusing to let go. A little side note from the archive. The anchoring effect isn't just about basketball. It's about everything. The first salary you hear, the first relationship you see, the first rule you're told. Your brain locks it in and then spends the rest of your life defending it. So the real question is, what other 10-foot hoops are you still shooting at? There have been proposals to raise the hoop to 11 feet, 3.35 meters. In the 1950s, in the 2000s, even an experiment in Washington in 2007 Fans loved it. Media loved it. But NBA and FIBA said no. Why? Because 10 feet is no longer a measurement. It's a symbol. It's part of the DNA of the sport. To change it would mean to erase the story. The peach baskets, the accidental railing, the janitor's ladder, the hidden truth. Great things are often born from tiny accidents that nobody planned. A little side note from the archive: no committee of experts sat down to calculate the perfect basketball height. No scientists. No biomechanists. Just a janitor, 2 peach baskets, and a balcony built for running laps. And 133 years later, the entire sport still bows to that moment. Smile mode, on the whole of professional basketball, rests on the architecture of a YMCA gym and the height of a gardener. Street philosophy mode, on sometimes the most brilliant things in life are not designed. They're discovered, they're borrowed, they're stumbled upon, and then we spend a century pretending they were planned. So the next time you miss a shot, just remember, you're not failing physics, you're failing a janitor's convenience. And honestly, that's way funnier. You get it now. The hoop at 10 feet is not about fairness, not about physics, not about balance. It's the height of a balcony railing on December 21st, 1891, where someone nailed 2 peach baskets. Science, the optimal 52-degree angle. History, players grew 11 centimeters taller. Neuroscience, the anchoring effect, and street philosophy all converge on the same truth. Great rules are born from random accidents that become eternal. Every time you jump toward that hoop, you're not battling physics. You're not battling gravity. You're battling the height of a man who simply grew peaches. A final whisper from the archive: the next time you miss a shot, don't blame your form, don't blame your legs, blame the janitor, blame the balcony, blame the peaches. And then smile, because you just learned the hidden truth that most players will never know. So what's your height? What accidental rule are you still living by? What peach basket are you still shooting at, without ever asking why? And now, the twist. How high do you jump in life toward a 10-foot goal, or do you give up earlier? Write in the comments your vertical leap, your personal record, or a story where you overcame the gardener's height. Subscribe to the archive of hidden facts so you don't miss the next hidden truths. And make sure to watch the previous video in the Facts in Science playlist about scientists who stole their own discoveries. You've been with the archive of hidden facts, the Facts in Sports segment. Today's topic: why is the basketball hoop 10 feet high, 3.05 meters? Because of the height of the first gardener. See you in the next investigation. A final question before you go. What if the most important rules in your life are also just peach baskets nailed to a random railing by someone who never expected you to be here? And what if asking why is the only real dunk worth making? See you next time. Same arch. New secrets.